What is travel therapy? Let's talk about it. Hi, my name is Julia. I'm a speech-language pathologist who's been a traveling therapist since 2010, and since that time, I've mentored thousands of other therapists to go into travel. So I'm here to help you make your travel dreams come true. What does it mean to be a travel therapist? You might have heard the term travel therapy, travel therapist, travel SLP, travel PT, travel OT, and been wondering, what does that all mean? I'll break it down for you really simply. Being a traveling therapist means that you're taking short-term contracts across the U.S., like you're traveling from job to job, location to location. The contracts, if they're medical-based, like at a hospital or home health or SNF facility, are generally 13 weeks in length. If you're looking at taking a school contract, those are usually 9 months in length, or the entire length of the school year for the most part. So travel therapists generally work at jobs between 13 weeks and 9 months. As a traveling therapist, you can work anywhere across the U.S. It's so cool as long as you're licensed there. But you can work in Alaska, Hawaii, Guam, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the East Coast, West Coast, South, Midwest. So anywhere across the U.S. that has a need for staffing could also have a need for travel therapists. So as long as you're licensed in the state you want to work in, you can work there. You can also work in any setting. All places have reasons for travelers. Home health, skilled nursing facilities, schools, hospitals, outpatient rehabs, inpatient rehab, outpatient clinics, all of those places need traveling therapists. So why are travelers needed? Travelers are needed to fill short-term staffing needs. Those needs might be there for a variety of different reasons. Maybe there's a chronic staffing shortage in the area or building that you're looking to work in. For example, maybe a geographic location, even if it's a beautiful place like Alaska or Hawaii, maybe they just cannot keep permanent therapists. And believe me when I say the most beautiful places like Alaska, like Hawaii, the U.S. Virgin Islands, they always need therapists. So sometimes geographic locations just cannot attract therapists to work there permanently, and therefore they rely on travelers to take those jobs. However, another chronic need for travelers would be that maybe a building just isn't a good place to work. Maybe they have poor management. They don't have a lot of staff. They're understaffed. They treat their staff poorly. And everybody in the community kind of knows that and knows, not to work at that place. Unfortunately, those are the types of places who also need travelers too. Now, of course, you can definitely avoid those assignments and those jobs. You don't have to work them. I'm just telling you, there's some of the places that need travelers. Other reasons travelers might be needed are because of family medical leaves of absences or short-term medical leaves. Maybe somebody's on a maternity leave or on a different medical leave and they just need somebody for a couple months to fill that position. Travelers might also be used because of seasonal shortages, such as in the wintertime, hospitals might need to bring on more staff, or they could be used because of a crisis need. For instance, during COVID, we saw field hospitals being built and travelers being needed. We saw these crisis response needs for COVID where travelers were needed. So travelers can be brought in crisis situations as well. Finally, travelers might be needed because of an EMR or an electronic medical record transition, meaning that a facility is going from one EMR to another, and since the whole facility has to get on board with that and it could take a lot of downtime in the documentation, they bring on extra staff in the form of travelers to help supplement the clinicians doing work so that all the patients can get treated during that time. Who do you work for as a traveling therapist? Well, as a traveler, you're going to work as a W-2 employee through a staffing agency. So you are not your own self-employed employee. You don't independent contract. You're a subcontractor through a staffing agency. There's loads of staffing agencies you can work for, and I definitely have more information about jobs and finding agencies and recruiters to work for in my bio and in my information. What are some traits of successful travel therapists? In my opinion, as a traveler, you kind of need to be open to whatever happens. Have a flexible mind, be willing to go with the flow, and accept that a travel assignment might not be perfect, but you kind of go with what you're given and you have a good time no matter what. You're kind to other people, you're open to learning new ways of doing things and meeting new people, and you enjoy being thrown into what could be challenging situations. I think good travelers are also those that are open with communication and good at receiving feedback. You might not do things at a travel assignment the way you're used to doing them, so you have to be available and open to accepting feedback and critiques about how things are done at different buildings and be willing to maybe change the style in which you do things to meet that of the new place you work. Finally, how much experience do you need to be a traveling therapist? This answer might surprise you, but you actually don't need any experience. PTs, OTs, and even SLPs can travel as new grads. So I'm an SLP, speech-language pathologist. We can travel during our clinical fellowship year, which is a 9-month clinical fellowship where we need mentorship and supervision. There are travel agencies that will provide that mentorship and supervision during your CF year as a traveler, although those are primarily for the school positions. So if you're interested in the pediatrics or school side and traveling as an SLP CF, that could be something for you. As PT and OT, when you graduate, you already have your licenses, so you can travel as well. Now, I will say the jobs you get as a newer novice clinician are going to be different than the ones you get later in your career, meaning each job you apply for as a traveler is going to review your resume, interview you, and hire according to their requirements. So the more experience I've got as a traveler, I've realized that the more skills I have, the more employers who kind of have the jobs I want to hire me, meaning a lot of facilities will have a minimum work experience required in order to apply for the job. And as a new grad, you're only going to be able to apply to the places that have a kind of no work experience or maybe 6 months or 1 year work experience required. Whereas when you travel more, you get to apply to jobs that have higher requirements. And in my opinion, those have been some of the more rewarding jobs I worked. That being said, I traveled with 1 year of experience. You can travel as a new grad. You're just not going to get all the opportunities that you would have as somebody with more experience. And finally, if you're thinking about traveling, whether you're a new grad or you have a ton of experience, know that when you show up to the facility, you're going to hit the ground running, meaning when you get there, you're going to start working. Travelers are expected to get to a job, get very little or minimal orientation, and start work. There's not going to be on-site mentorship or a person or place that you can really ask a lot of questions. This is where you just work, and you're going to be expected to know what you're doing as a therapist, be able to write goals, eval patients, do treatment without one-on-one help. But think for a minute, where can travel therapy take you? I'm excited that you're here watching this video on travel therapy. Subscribe to my channel and watch more. Definitely watch the pros and cons of being a traveling therapist and let me know, are you interested in travel? Do you want to travel? Where would you want to go? Give me all the details in the comments.